Balik kampung.
Oh, balik kampung.
So where's your kampung?
Oh my gosh, that's a very, very, very tough question for me to answer.
You're listening to...
Jom Sembang, Malaysia.
So why is it a tough question?
Because, I don't know, mostly people say kampung is where your grandparents are, your parents are. It's like your...
Oh, I always thought it's where you're born.
Yeah, usually that too lah. But okay, I was born in Malacca. But then I moved out of Malacca when I was just before I turned 10.
Okay, what? 10 years of childhood. Can lah,
Okay
kampung
lah.
lah.
So when I was younger, I would always like, oh, Malacca, Malacca, Malacca. But nowadays, right, it's like, yeah lah. I would still call myself anak Malacca, but I don't feel that connection so much anymore. So I've been trying to figure out actually why also. Maybe because I don't have relatives there. Like, okay, usually where you're born, somebody will be there lah. Got relatives. But you know, my family's so satellite, right? There's only what? Mother, father, brother, me, then brother's wife and the family. So, there's nobody. It's only friends left in Malacca. And I feel like most of them have moved out or moved on or passed on. That seriously, now if I actually go, there's only one family that, okay, 1.5.
I actually feel that
I would call.
kampung, my kampung, I will still immediately recall, okay, Sungai Besi is my kampung.
Okay.
But then there is no longer any emotional attachment, but there is a lot of memory attachment. Because
Okay.
I grew up there, like I grew up like playing at the longkang, okay? So you kind of, have that memory of, oh, the mango tree was here, I climbed the tree and then...
Yeah, I used
What?
to climb mango tree.
Like probably the most solid tree to climb.
Okay.
Then also remembering how my grandmother used to play mahjong next door.
Okay.
And then after school she already have lunch there, and then she will say, okay, see you later. And then she'll go next door and play mahjong. And then I roughly know about 5 something she'll come back. But when she comes back, I need to make sure the rice is already in the cooker and stuff like that. Those are some memories that for me is a very kampung thing. So even when we move out, my family, actually all of us have moved out from there.
Okay, but how old were you when you moved out?
Quite young lah. Maybe 7 or 8 lah. Younger than you lah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but there's the whole like we still go back and stuff like that. So
To where? To
go
what?
back to the kampung house lah. Like my grandma staying there lah.
You still got somebody staying there, that's why.
So stay there. Then after that, when the whole clan have already moved out from there, like we sold the place, and the place have gone through development, got better jalan lah. In front maybe no more rumah kayu, got rumah bata lah. Okay. Then my whole family still goes back once a while, just go and like, eat at the pasar because there's a
Right.
favorite food.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
sometimes it's not just the close family, the whole relative gang, like 20 of us walking down because Ramadan Bazaar is there.
Right.
And we talk about the memories.
And it's the still Ramadan Bazaar. It's the same Ramadan.
Similar
Kinda.
lah, same location on the newer path road lah, And then and because the house, let's say it's my grandma's house, right? We already sold it to the hair salon that we always go to. And she actually don't even stay there. She turned the whole house into a hair salon. So every time we pass by, this is our hair salon
But
house.
you've been going back to that hair salon too.
No, not for a long time. So what they do is, they chop our trees. So there is always that talk that there is still that connection. But none of us stay there anymore. In fact, none of our
Okay.
neighbors stay there anymore.
Okay, so question, when the house was sold lah, so considered no more family house, right? How old were you then?
Maybe 15?
Okay.
Yeah, but then it's a very interesting thing because just now you're mentioning that. I said, okay, if people ask me, I will still say, Sungai Besi lor.
Sungai Besi.
Yeah, but then if like they ask me, let's say, like now, that was like Sungai Besi, but I don't really like know what's happening there anymore.
Understand?
Like,
So would you say hometown is connected to childhood memories?
I would kind of think so.
And it's also
Because
connected to
we-
family gatherings.
Something like that. Because sometimes now, like, we have our chat. Then my uncle say, guess where am I? At our kampung. And everybody know, even though
Yes,
none
yes,
of us
yes.
stay there.
Yeah.
And it's only like 5 minutes throw away,
Alright.
So, yeah, that has been how I would associate it with lah.
Yeah. So, okay, that's true. I do have a lot of memories of my childhood growing up. The rain tree in front of my house, and then the frogs will, every time it rains, it will make all those noises. They say like, what? The symphony of frogs. But if talking about family gatherings, it was always, so my mom's Singaporean, right? So her Singaporean part of the family would come to Malacca now and then, but I think I have more memories of the gatherings being in Singapore. So sometimes I feel like
Your kampung is Singapore.
yeah, it's like my mother's kampung lah. You know, there is a bit more roots there. But if you talk about food, like you still go back to eat, there are still things that, that's the thing. I would always go back to eat wonton mee, the chili-based one, which nobody can understand. But I grew up with chicken rice balls. And now when I go back, chicken rice balls is like not nice already. So it's like the things that I used to eat as a child there is semakin berkurangan, no? So now it's like, that one don't have. And then, I used to go eat the fishball shop there at Jalan Kubu, and then I don't even know if the shop is there anymore, you know?
I
Or the
think
chicken
it's
rice shop
quite
somewhere else.
interesting.
So it's like semakin kurang lah. So now left that wonton mee and that one family. And yes, I would still go past the old house. Oh, is the swing still there? Oh, is the palm tree still there? Is the rain tree still there? Like, last time I go, sit on the becha around here lah. But yeah. So if that ever gets developed, the rain tree dies, then my hometown thingy would be like semakin.
So actually,
berkurangan.
hometown is more of like a place that we go back that has our childhood memories, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
But in this case, that explains why a lot of us don't feel like we have a kampung anymore, because none of us grow up in the kampung anymore. In a way, like, for example, I don't, because my kampung KL lah, so tidak kira lah, go home, 5-minute drive, okay?
Yeah.
But if I have a friend who, let's say, stay in Kedah, the kampung, right? And then they rarely go back. So when it finally kosong no so or nobody's there anymore, you can totally pluck it out your brain because you only go back once a year. So to
Correct.
speak. And then that's why a lot of people say, they even, I don't know about the other races, but the Chinese, 10 years ago, they already started to bring their parents to KL for
Yes.
Chinese New Year. Because there's nothing there. I mean, and at first I couldn't understand it. Because my family's so big. Right? When we celebrate Chinese New Year, 30, 40 of us, right? So you're like, why you bring your parents here? But then I realized some of my friends, it's just them, just 3 children and the parents, that's it. So it makes sense to bring their parents over lah.
Correct.
And when I ask them what do you do, they're not like me lah, 5 days Chinese New Year, okay? They are like a reunion dinner, then morning breakfast, and then go watch movie, shopping mall, finish, Chinese New Year finish.
That kind of sounds like mine lah, 2-3 days.
So they said, balik kampung tak ada balik kampung, no difference. Because the kampung atmosphere does not enhance the gathering.
Correct.
Unlike I cannot move 30, 40 people to some villa in some don't know where and have, it doesn't make sense.
Correct. So maybe lah. Also, your hometown feeling also depends on whether you grew up in a rural area or city area lah. It would be interesting to find out, right? Well, if you're listening to this, drop us a note, right? And tell us whether if you grew up in a city, you still feel like your hometown was somewhere. This episode is brought to you by Songs and Stories. What Songs and Stories does is it gives you the true life story of the people. Everyday people with everyday lives and how they got to where they are. So if you want to find out more, check out Songs and Stories on Facebook. We are also on Twitter and YouTube. And
Yeah, actually you just Google lah.
yeah, website songsandstories.com.my.
Welcome back from the break. So just now we talked about the kampung. Let's explore this idea, okay?
Okay.
Let's say moving kampung to be your retirement location. Let's say lah, because I don't live in the past lah. I always look at the future. Then I always
Wow.
thinking about where to retire and stuff
So
like that.
futuristic.
And then I was thinking just now when during the break, I was thinking like, okay, because I've always wanted to just move out of the city and then just live in a comfortable way, in my hermit way, in
Okay.
somewhere a bit more in the countryside. And I was just thinking, as I go along towards that direction, would it be that I'm making that destination my kampung? Because I won't be coming back to all this so-called Sungai Bersih kampung where everything would have changed another 20 years.
Yeah.
And then what your favorite nasi lemak is not even there and stuff like that. It's like creating new memories for a new kampung, so to speak, in inverted commas. What do you think of that kind of an idea?
So moving into a new kampung. Just now it was like beginning of life kampung. Now we're talking about so-called end of life kampung.
Something like that.
Makes sense, actually, because we spend a lot more years in retirement compared to growing up. Like we all say, right? 10, 15, 18 years.
Correct.
But if you have a decent lifespan in today's, aging society, thing. Then if you retire at what, 60?
Because
and you
I
live to
can't picture
85.
myself calling where I'm staying now and my neighborhood Kampung. When I go old or about dying age, that's not where I see myself. Like I feel like I'm dying in a foreign land. Like
If
foreign
you go back
place.
to that place, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
To my current home. You know, like I don't know lah. For me, my current home is like it feels very temporary. For me, it's like if you can imagine where you want to die, that location should be where your target is lah. So for me, I cannot imagine dying in a condo on my own lah. I'd rather die in the house with some garden with some chicken running around lah. I don't mind that. So that would probably be my future kampung idea.
Okay, hold that thought. So I cannot think until now. I've actually thought about it before, right? Where would I want to stay? Where I am forever, or if I decide to relocate? Where would that be? And of course, it depends on what you're doing, right? I think most of us are in the city because of our jobs, because of what we're doing, and that's probably the best place for.
But that will not make any sense soon because we have technology.
That is true. That is true. But I think, there are places that you go to, not necessarily your own kampong or where you grow up, but it feels like you're coming back home. Although you're home,
correct.
But you arrive there and you're like, it is my second home. Second home. Like, maybe we can say like, Malaysia, my second home thing. What is it that makes you feel that some places have that my second home feeling, as opposed to other places that you go and you're like, okay lah.
Familiarity and comfort, I suppose.
Familiarity means you would have either gone a few times or stayed quite long.
Like, okay, familiar. That's quite true. So maybe we have gone a few times, but also that, I like the way the roads moves and not create stress.
That's such a Gina thing.
Or like the convenience of moving around.
Okay.
But also the comfort in the sense that if I stay there 5 days and I don't feel I'm lacking anything, then I'm like, okay, this place I can.
Oh, okay. So self-containment as well.
Correct. Because considering that every time I travel, kononya staycation lah, it's never staycation lah, okay? Like, I mean, it's not like I go there and I rest. Then I associate it with rest. That's why kampung. No. I go there, I rest, but I also work. That work-life balance is something that I would associate as home.
Okay.
Because my current home in KL, I feel like, it's always I wake up, work, There is I haven't found the balance of rest and work. So for me, I want to like retire somewhere that I can find work-life balance. That doesn't feel too stressful lah. So for me, that would be home lah. Sad to say, right?
Interesting.
Current home is not home.
Well, also because maybe it's the nature of the place that you are staying in at the moment that you feel like.
Maybe
I don't know. Do you feel like you've settled in?
Okay lah. I can also like if you ask me younger time, I say, this might be what I want to retire in. Condo lah, convenience lah, But there's something empty in the soul lah.
Oh.
Like it feels very cold or something like that. So there's no that. But when I travel elsewhere, I find that soul. And I think if I have to choose between comfort and soul, I choose soul.
Okay, I get what you mean. Okay, so for me, what you said work and work-life balance. So even if you're going for work, you were saying, but you still feel like
it doesn't feel like
rest.
Correct.
Yeah. So there are certain places that I feel like that one. Remember when we went to Cebu?
Okay.
And I feel like, every time I land here, right? Okay, of course we went repeatedly lah. We went 1 year, got 3-4 times. And always it was on the way to work. It was a transit stop by. So nothing to do. And we were like, okay, explore, go to the night market. And it was, I feel like somehow it's got an element of that home feeling. Although actually I know nothing about the place apart from the food. And I don't know anybody there.
And then because you said transit, you only stay 1 day. It's not like you stay 5 days,
Correct. But it's still like, I feel like, okay, there's something about that place. Whereas there are places that I actually have been to multiple times, but it feels very much like a workplace. I wouldn't call it home at all. I wouldn't say like, I'm back here.
Yeah, understand. So I think maybe kampung is where you feel at home.
Home is where the heart is.
So where's the kampung? Everyone else?
Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by two Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff.
Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Cerita Suito and Gina Yap Layung.
Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105.
Remember to click like and subscribe for the brand new episode next week.